Ilia Topuria, a.k.a. Mr. Hand Sanitizer. Guys, that's the gentleman that got into it with Paddy. I'm assuming you know that, right? You guys know the story. Paddy sees him somewhere. They got some dust up that tracks back to the world's biggest insult known as Twitter. At any rate, they get in the same room. They're oil and water. Something happens. Paddy throws a hand sanitizer at him. Then Paddy nicknames him Mr. Hand Sanitizer. I didn't know who he was. Topuria. And I do not mean that in a condescending way. You guys can relate to that. There's these great fighters out there, and you do your level best to watch, but until you have a reason to know or until they pop on your radar, that's where he is for me. This dude's great. He's not good. If he was good, I would have said he was good. He's above good. This dude's great. He is 12-0. They're all... I went and looked his record up. It was crazy. I think he went to the distance one time. By the way, he won. He's submitting guys. He's knocking guys out. He goes out and has a great fight on Saturday. He calls out Paddy the Baddy. Now, we've covered it over here. These two can't fight. They cannot fight because a bad action was done outside of the octagon, and that would disqualify them from monetizing from it. Well, maybe I'm a little hard on that. Maybe I'm being a little bit of a prude in all fairness, because they did not touch one another. You know, you threw a hand sanitizer, hit him in the back, it didn't hit him in the face. I mean, there's a few things if you want to start splitting hairs, but I feel like maybe we need to start splitting those hairs. Maybe we do. Paddy was outnumbered 6-1. He wasn't looking for a dust-up. He had the chance to get in one, and he fully rescinded. Now, he did the math ahead of time. These guys are either going to be buffoons and beat the hell out of me, or these guys are going to be decent cornermen and athletes and get him out of here. That's the one that they went with. But in all fairness, was this all that bad? I can remember Conor McGregor. Something happened. Was it water bottles? Water bottles and Nick Diaz, and Conor got fined like $50,000 for throwing. But do you remember when that happened? It didn't disrupt a fight. So there is something different. There is something different between the three-piece and a soda, where you're actually touching a guy trying and attempting to do damage, versus, you threw a 2-ounce water ball at him and it fell off his back, right? I mean, do we agree that there's a difference? Jeremy Stevens tested this one time. Jeremy Stevens pushed somebody, they were weighing in, and they faced off, and Jeremy pushed him. Well, it would end up being a lot harder push than Jeremy thought. And the guy was in a stance, and the guy was not expecting it more so than Jeremy thought. The guy got whiplash. And the guy was not faking. He got whiplash. You go watch the tape. I mean, the way it was real. But that guy, hey, look, hold on. We're doing a face-off. That needs to be expected. You protect yourself at all times, and everything went away. So there is a line, is what I'm suggesting. We saw what happened with three-piece and a soda, which is there was no payoff for that. I don't think this falls in the same category the more I think about it. Not to mention, this dude is great. He is 12-0. He was like born in Germany, but he represents the same country that Giga does. It's a small country, albeit, but they got two killer fighters, Giga and this gentleman. What do you do? And do you go with Ilia Topuria? Do you? It's hard to say. This is coming from a guy named Chael. I know about names that are hard to say. Do you go with that? Or do you go with Mr. Hand Sanitizer? I mean, maybe Austin Vanderford did it. Austin Vanderford falls in love with Paige Van Zandt. She's established. He's up and coming. So people wanted to hurt him. Like, his life was going so well. He was signed to Bellator, and he was a national champion, and he was a handsome guy, and he got to fall in love with this famous girl. And it's like all of these things where people just go, too much good stuff's happened to this guy. We're going to try to hurt his feelings. Mr. Van Zandt. He nicknamed himself Mr. Van Zandt. He makes a mouthpiece, then he smiles every time they put the camera on that says Mr. Van Zandt, and then he starts selling t-shirts online. Nobody ever teased him again. Nobody even thought to tease him again. People forgot that it started. The genesis of it was an insult because he steered into it so hard. I don't know that he's going to want to go with Mr. Hand Sanitizer. I think I'm more trying to prove a point of making the best of a negative situation. I did not know who he was. I know I keep saying that, but guys, he's on the tip of my tongue. I couldn't wait to see him fight. Then he's got an attitude. He's as angry as Giga is. It must just come over in that place. He's as willing to get down as Giga is. That's got to be something nationalistic or culturally related. Perhaps I'm stereotyped, but you got two guys that are straight up hammers that a whole country is interested in. That sounds a lot like Paddy the Baddy. But Paddy was a known gimmick. He got the Beatles haircut. He's doing his thing. This guy's new to the party. But now he's got to make the best of a situation. He cannot let this go. And I think that he agrees with me, considering he has not let it go. He went and took care of business in a hard fight. He found a way. I'm telling you, this guy is good. Topuria is good. calls out Paddy the Baddy. The only question is, can you get those two guys in there together? Now, to my understanding, and you guys know my level of research here, it is absolutely none, but to my understanding, they're separated by a weight class. Topuria's a 45-pounder and Paddy the Baddy is a 55-pounder. To my understanding. So what? If Topuria is willing to put his undefeated record, getting called Mr. Hand Sanitizer, if we can first establish that the hand sanitizer is not kin to the 3-piece and a soda, that this is not a bad behavior, this would just happen to be an organic moment, if we can get that far with each other, I think I'd like to see that fight. I think that Topuria is farther along in the sport than Paddy the Baddy. I don't know that. I think that he is. But Paddy the Baddy is going to spot him 10 pounds. It'd be a very hard fight to get out of. I think that's what I'm more interested in than the two of them fighting. First off, I want you guys to know who Mr. Hand Sanitizer is. All right, Topuria is awesome. That's who he is. I wouldn't look this guy. I will never miss another one of this guy's fights. This guy is a stud. So keep him in mind. And serendipitously, he might have had a really big favor done to him. He's mad. He doesn't see it that way. He doesn't need to. He is a cage fighter. He doesn't need to hear anything that I'm saying right now. He gets to be as angry as he wants to be. He's 12-0. He's finished 11 of them. He signed to the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Everything's going his way. And he thinks that he's found himself an opponent who, by the way, does not have possibly the skills. Am I out of line saying that? I mean, this guy is 145 pounds. You know how hard that weight class is? You go beat up 12 guys, I give a goddamn where you did it. I don't care if you're doing it down at the YMCA. 12 for 12? Makes weight every time, no matter what, no matter how he feels. He walks out there, he finds a way to win. He's a good fighter. You spot him 10 pounds. But I'm telling you guys, I don't know who's better. But that's not the thing I'm most interested in. I'm most interested in the drama around, not the hand sanitizer, the drama around if that fight gets offered and Paddy doesn't want to do it. That would interest me. Paddy does not see any shame in saying no to fights. I didn't know Paddy was turning down fights until Paddy told us I'm turning down fights. I'm not going to fight anybody hard for this money. Remember when he said all those things? This is a different deal. This isn't a top 10 ranked guy. This isn't a champion and or a former champion. This isn't even a guy from within his weight class. This is not a gentleman who people knew who he was until this happened. It'd be a very hard fight to turn down. And that would interest me. I just want that fight to be offered just to see how Paddy would handle it. If they go fisticuffs, okay, great. For me, I get tested what I said. This guy's better, but you way more, we've evened it out. If they don't get in there and this gets tested, how do you turn down a fight when you're in the shoes of Paddy, when everybody is watching you, when you're in the tough guy business? If anybody can figure a way, it just might be the Baddy. He's pretty damn crafty. All I'm saying for you, I hope we get to that point because I would like to see what his reaction would be.